All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about a playbook for building some serious, unstoppable momentum in 2026. And look, this isn't about just working harder and burning yourself out. No, it's about being intentional, getting strategic, and really tapping into the power you already have to create some real sustainable growth. So let's start with a really honest question, just for you. Take a good look at your last couple of years. Does it feel like you're actually on an upward climb? Or does it feel more like you're on a hamster wheel, just running as fast as you can to stay in the exact same place? It's a super common feeling, but recognizing that pattern, that's the very first step toward real growth. And this quote, it absolutely nails the core of it. The agents who are really winning out there, they aren't just outworking everyone. They're working in alignment. The big breakthrough happens when you find that natural current in your own business and just steer right into it. That's the secret the top producers are using. Okay, so where do we even begin with all this? Well, the very first step is to find your unique trend, because before you can take that giant leap forward, you've got to look back and really understand how you got to where you are right now. And don't worry, this isn't some crazy, complex audit. It's actually a pretty simple but really powerful review of your last 3 years. Just go back and analyze where your deals actually came from, not where you think they did, but where the data says they did. As you trace that path from 2023 all the way to 2025, what patterns start to pop out? What activities again and again led to a closing? And here is the whole point of that exercise. This isn't about finding what you're bad at, not at all. It's about identifying your strengths with cold, hard data. The agents who are going to win in 2026 are the ones who have the clarity and honestly the discipline to double down on what's already working for them. So once you know what's working, the next step is to change how you talk about it. And this brings us to a huge trend, a really fundamental shift in marketing. It's about moving from being a spotlight to becoming a lighthouse. Think of it this way, right? The old spotlight model is all about the agent's ego. It's look at me, look at my sales, look how great I am. But the lighthouse model, it makes the client the hero of the story. A lighthouse doesn't run around screaming for attention. It just stands there, steady, providing guidance, helping people navigate the choppy waters safely. The entire focus shifts from bragging to genuinely help. And this is exactly why it's so powerful. When you position yourself as a guide, people lean in. They actually listen. And that attention isn't just a fleeting thing. It builds the single most valuable asset in this entire business, trust. And trust, as we all know, always, always leads to business. Okay, this next trend we're seeing might feel a little counterintuitive at first, but wow, is it powerful. It's all about going deeper, not wider. It's about focusing on fewer people, but with so much more intention. And we do that by leveraging something called your MVP list. So what in the world is an MVP list? It's really simple. These are your most valuable people. They're the absolute core of your business. We're talking past clients, future clients, and those raving fans who are constantly sending people your way. They are your true advocates. So the big opportunity here is to shift your entire strategy from just blasting out mass campaigns to having meaningful, one-on-one conversations. First, you identify who these MVPs are. Then, take a really hard look at your budget and your calendar. How much of that is spent just chasing strangers? The idea is to reallocate some of those resources, both your time and your money, to thoughtfully deepening the relationships you already have. Now, a really powerful way to boost those deep relationships and streamline your whole business is with our next trend, and it's one you just can't ignore, AI. But we're moving past using it like a toy or a novelty. We're talking about using AI as a true strategic partner. Most people are still stuck using AI as a simple novelty, asking it for a basic social media post or a generic listing description. But the real leverage, the actual strategic advantage, comes from using it to help you think better. You can use it to role-play tough objections, to help you map out your entire quarterly business plan, or even to prepare for a super complex negotiation. So how do you actually do that? Well, the key is something called structured prompting, and it's just a simple 4-part framework. So, for example, for role, you tell it you are an expert real estate negotiation coach. For input, you'd say, my client wants to offer 50K below asking on a property that's been on the market for 60 days. For steps, you'd ask, provide 3 potential counter-arguments from the seller and a strong response for each one. And finally, for outcome, give me a script I can use to prepare my client. See? That structure turns AI from a toy into a seriously powerful tool. All right, on to our final trend. And really, this is the engine that drives absolutely everything else. It's the one thing that never, ever goes out of style. Simple, powerful consistency. Just think about social media for a second. So many agents start the year posting every single day, just full of energy. But what if, instead, you just committed to 2 high-quality posts per week, every week, for an entire year? That steady, sustainable effort is so much greater than posting like crazy every day for a month before you burn out and then go completely silent. The algorithms, and more importantly, your audience, they reward reliability. Consistency will beat intensity every single time. And this applies most of all to the most fundamental act of our business, having conversations. Just start tracking how many real estate-related conversations you have every single day. Why? Because what we track, we naturally improve. It really is that simple. So, as we wrap all this up, please remember this crucial point. Building momentum for 2026 doesn't mean you have to reinvent your entire business. It just requires focus. Focus on what's already working, focus on guiding instead of bragging, on your core relationships, and on consistent daily action. And that leaves us with just one final question for you to think about. You don't have to do everything we talked about today. You just need to choose one. So, what's the one trend you're going to commit to mastering to build your momentum in the year ahead?